A city suddenly gets turned to dust by a cloth-less Piccolo. The Hero Association sent heroes who failed to stop him. The alien terrorizes the city and comes across a little girl. Just as he's about to kill the girl, she gets saved by a bald hero named Saitama. Piccolo is a vaccine man in this multiversal timeline, and he's here to get rid of all humans because they have been destroying the world. He gets furious when Saitama tells him he's a hero only for fun. Vaccine Man transforms into his ultimate form to kill the bald guy. However, Saitama vaporizes him with one punch. Before going any further into the story, let's smash that subscribe button in 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. Did you do it? I bet you did it, and I appreciate you for it. Okay, let's continue. 3 years ago, a crab man was terrorizing the streets of Tokyo. He ate too much crab and turned into this monster. The crab man comes across Saitama. Saitama refuses to run away because he's unemployed and got rejected at his interview again. So now he couldn't care less what happens to him. The crabman spares him since he doesn't want to kill a lifeless man and goes to find someone else. Saitama finds a kid with a chin that looks like balls. He leaves the kid since he doesn't care about anything anymore. The crabman attacks the ball-chinned kid, but Saitama saves him. Saitama tells him how he wanted to be a hero instead of getting a job and living a normal life. They get into a fight, and Saitama finally pulls his guts out. Present day, Saitama doesn't feel any excitement from fights anymore. His life feels pointless since everyone dies with one punch. Suddenly, a giant destroys the shop. The giant with his brother is turning every city into dust. His scientist brother turned his little brother into this monster, and together, they plan to take over the world. Saitama gets on the giant's shoulder and tells him to wear some clothes. The mad scientist tells the giant to crush Saitama sitting on his shoulder, and by mistake, he crushes his brother. Furious by the loss of his brother, he unleashes on Saitama. But Saitama gets up without a scratch and ends the monster and City B, which he's supposed to save. Saitama contemplates how he lost his emotions and his hair in exchange for his powers. Now he enjoys nothing. He punches a Transformer knockoff while feeling indifferent on his way back home. The next morning, he gets attacked by a group of aliens called Subterranean. They wiped out 70% of the Earth's population and plan to take over the Earth. Saitama fights back and surprises them when he vaporizes one of them with one punch. They get into an intense fight and Saitama finally is feeling the excitement. He's feeling the joy of battle. He stands tall over the pile of defeated Subterranean. And finally, he must face off the Subterranean King. But suddenly, his alarm goes off and he realizes it was all just a dream. However, his streets get ravaged by some Subterranean. Saitama kills their king, and they immediately surrender and return. The news reports cases of animals and people being sucked alive by some monster. Saitama gets annoyed by a mosquito while trying to water his cactus. And for the first time, he seems like he's struggling to defeat something. A swarm of mosquitoes makes their way into town Z. A robber trying to take advantage of the emergency gets his blood sucked completely by a swarm of mosquitoes. A mosquito girl commands the swarm. A cyborg named Genos responds to the call and attacks the girl. She sends the swarm to kill him, but he incinerates the whole swarm. They get into an intense battle. Mosquito girl rips out his arm while he cut off both of her legs. She tries to escape and recollect herself by gaining blood from mosquitoes around the whole town. Meanwhile, Saitama is all over the town trying to kill the mosquito. Genos tells Saitama to evacuate, but the massive swarm attacks them both. Genos incinerates the entire swarm since there are people in the area. Saitama survives the blast too, but his clothes don't. Mosquito Girl has grown stronger. She attacks the cyborg and tears him apart. Seeing no way to win, the cyborg decides to self-destruct. Saitama punches the queen from existence. A broken and surprised cyborg immediately asks Saitama to take him as a disciple. Saitama agrees without realizing it. The next day, he's at Saitama's door. He tells Saitama about how his parents died because of a rogue cyborg and how a scientist helped him get his cyborg body. Both Saitama and the scientist saved his life, so Genos feels he's in debt to them. A secret organization saw what Saitama did to their prototype, Mosquito Girl, and they plan to bring him in. A monster attacks Saitama and Saitama punches its head off before it could tell its name. Saitama and Genos get ambushed by a cyborg and the Beast King. A mole traps Saitama in the ground and the Beast King threatens him. Genos gets into an intense fight against the cyborg. Saitama gets out of the hole and the Beast King unleashes his full power on him. Saitama dodges all of his attacks and finishes him off with one punch. The mole tries to escape, but Saitama catches him too. Finally, they corner the cyborg gorilla. The gorilla realizes his allies have all been defeated and begs for his life. A brilliant scientist wanted to find a way to evolve the human species. He suggested human experiments, but was shunned by the whole scientific community. Upset by it, the scientist decided to clone himself and run the human experiments by himself. Saitama and Genos tell the money to stop telling the pointless story and tell them why they broke his house in less than 20 words. The gorilla tells them that the scientist is interested in Saitama. He wants to study him and use him for his experiments. Saitama plans to take the fight to him then and there because he has a sale the next day. Meanwhile, the scientist is panicking after losing his elite team so easily. He plans to unleash his ultimate weapon, Carnage Kabuto, to save himself and his work. Saitama and Genos find the so-called lab and Genos blasts it out of existence. Saitama finds a secret base underground. Meanwhile, the scientist tries to convince Kabuto to kill or capture Saitama. Saitama and Genos make their way through the tunnel. But suddenly, in carnage, Kabuto rushes them and puts Genos into the wall. Kabuto takes Saitama to an arena to fight. Genos comes in all of a sudden and attacks Carnage Kabuto. But he gets defeated too easily. The injured scientist crawls to the arena to see the fight. Carnage Kabuto goes on the offense with incredible speed, but back off when he sees Saitama in the eye. Kabuto asks how he became so strong. Saitama decides to tell everyone the secret of his powers. Even the scientist Genus wants to know about it. Saitama tells them that if they want to get strong like him, they must do 100 push-ups, 100 sit-ups, 100 squats, and 10 kilometers of running every day. Never take a day off training. Even during the summer, they must train until their hair falls off and they become bald. Genos yells at Saitama and tells him not to make jokes, because those are just standard training. Saitama tells them that's all he did. Carnage Kabuto finally goes into his ultimate form and tells him he'll kill him and go on a rampage until next Sunday. He sets Saitama flying with a punch, and Saitama realizes he made a mistake. He mixed up the days and realized today the sale is happening in the supermarket. Oh, and he also one-punched Carnage Kabuto into bits. Genos tells Saitama that there are still 4 hours left for the sale and they leave. Today's video ends here. I make videos like this every other day. Like and subscribe to the channel for more interesting videos. Until then, take care.